Hey guys, and welcome back to another scanner review on the Simple Car Guide channel. I have already reviewed the FOXWELL NT716 and I found some features I did not expect on a scanner at this price point. So let's see if this NT716 can impress as well. This is a 4 system and 6 reset function scanner running an Android operating system with free lifetime upgrades. So let's take a quick look around the box and see what we can find. So this is what the scanner is going to look like. I like the graphics, looks pretty cool, just like the other one. Here in the back we can see some specs. So it's a 5.5-inch LCD screen, pretty decent resolution for a scanner. We also have that it's Android 9 and 4-core CPU, that's pretty good, a gig of RAM and 32 gigs of storage. Not sure if you're going to need that much, but it's good to have. And a 4,000 milliamp lithium battery. All right, on this side, nothing too interesting, so let's go ahead and look at the back. All right, so it supports more than 90 American, Asian, and European vehicle makes. So basically anything that has been made in the past, I would say 25 years, so since 1996, will pretty much be supported. Also supports the latest 2020 and 2021 models, so that's awesome. And the upgrades are free here, so you can always update to the latest version, which will support all of the vehicles that are out there right now. It also can identify and automatically search the VIN numbers. I love that. You don't have to type it in manually or select which car you have, because sometimes you may not know if you're working on somebody else's car. Shows live data, perfect. A little bit more information here, but yeah, looks pretty good. All makes, like I mentioned. So let's take it out of the box and see what we can find. All right, so we have the instructions. Let's take a look. So we got the warranty. It is a 1-year limited warranty. You have your manual. It's all in English, so there's a lot of items you can learn here. And just like the other one, it's written well, so you can actually understand what they're saying. I don't think it was just translated. It's actually written in English. We have a quick start guide, so connect it to Wi-Fi, charge it. You will need an account to update your software, so you're going to have to create one. Just requires an email address. You also get your cables, USB-C and the OBD2 cable. All right, and then the main unit right here. All right, so here is the actual unit. It has rubberized handles here on the side, so it's nice and easy to grip. Here at the top we have our OBD2 port, USB and USB-C for charging, and the power button. On the back, just a little bit more information, but nothing too crazy. All right, so I'm in the car now. Let's go over all of the features and see what the scanner actually offers. Now, to be clear, I have fully updated the scanner to the latest version of the actual application for the scanner, as well as all of the additional applications for like BMW and Mercedes and everything else. That didn't take long at all because they kind of work all of them simultaneously and it works very well. Now, a few other things before we get into the meat and potatoes of the scanner. We'll go over into the settings so we can change the units, language, font size. So if you want them bigger, you can definitely do that. You can sort the tiles, so the main menu. There's even remote control. I'll show you that in just a second to show you what that actually is. Automatic update, so if you keep this turned on or working in your shop, you can just leave it on so it updates automatically. You can also go to system updates and change certain items for actual Android system. I'm not going to be touching those. You also have a few general items in here that you can change so it doesn't pop up every time you turn it on saying, hey, like agree to this, agree to that. We can also clear the app data and reset the device. If you're about to sell it or you want to, give it to somebody else, you can definitely do that. All right, so those are the settings, pretty cool. Now there is actually a second page here, which not a lot of people might know, but what this offers is actually remote control. So if you're having issues or you're not really sure what's happening with the car or you need some kind of support, you can use TeamViewer on this device and get additional help. So right now it's activating. I'm in the garage, so obviously internet's not very good here, but there you go. So that's the ID, and you can use that ID to connect to the device. Very, very cool. And that's obviously like free included. We also have the firmware update and some different functions you can add or remove on the device. But that's not really what this is about. Also, for your account, you do need to create an account in order to use all of the features. I just created mine with an email address, simple email address, and as you can see, no other information. You can also log in online and see the version of software you're running, if there's any updates and things like that. You can also send them feedback and some suggestions if you're interested, but that's here or there. Data Manager, this will store all of your screenshots, PDFs, reports, anything else that you save on the device. It will be, you can then review it on this page right here. All right, so the boring stuff out of the way, let's talk about the cool items on this device. First one is going to be Diagnostics. So if we click on Diagnostics, we are presented with all of the makes of the cars that this device actually supports. So as you can see, there are a ton of different vehicles that this supports. So basically, if the vehicle was made in the last, I think I already mentioned, 25 years since 1996, and it supports OBD2, you will be able to do something with this device on your car. Now, this doesn't actually mean that you will be able to, as an example, scan modules on every single car from like 1997, but if the car offers it, you'll be able to do so. All right, so I am in a BMW, but instead of clicking on BMW and selecting the car manually, what I'm going to do is just going to go to VIN, and I'm going to say automatic read, and what it's going to do is automatically select the VIN number for me. There you go, it just selected my car. You have the VIN here at the bottom and the actual vehicle specifications. That looks all correct, so I'm going to click yes. While it's loading the data, you also can notice that it shows us the battery voltage. Oh, let me go back. There you go. You can see the battery voltage of my car, so that's pretty cool. So I clicked on diagnosis. That's going to be the only option you get here, and then you have Quick Scan or Control Modules. So Quick Scan will scan all of the modules available within the systems that this scanner supports. Control Modules, if you go in here, you can select them manually. Okay, I'm going to do Quick Scan because, well, it's easier, so we're going to use it. To be clear, this scanner supports 4 different modules. It does not support every single module on every single vehicle like its bigger brother, but this is why it's a little bit less expensive. This one supports engine, transmission, SRS and ABS. So as you can see, it found all of the modules that belong to those systems, and now we can go to each and individual module within that system. The reason I'm saying that is because some cars will have 2 DME modules, like my BMW 550. When you scan that car, you will see 2 engine modules, even though it's one system, right? So, okay, what can we do with this information? Now that we have scanned it, of course, we can save it. So let's go ahead and do that. So you can save and print, save an email, or we can just save it. I'll go ahead and just save it. We can run a report. So it's going to give us all of the information, and it shows us actual codes for each of the items that it has found. It's pretty nice. All right, we're going to go back. We're going to click on that one and see what it presents to us. Since this one actually has some codes, we can read those and see what those are all about. And here you go, it's telling me that one of the sensors, there's an issue with it, and you can actually click on the code, and it's going to take you to the internet basically to search for it, so you can automatically get there and see what it is. Like I said, my internet's very, very slow here in the garage, so it might take a second for it to load, but I'm not going to waste your time waiting for that to happen. You can also hit freeze frame, and it's going to save it to the computer on the car, so you can retrieve it later. It tells you all the information about the vehicle and the frame that you have saved. So I'm just going to save that, and we can review it later if we want to. All right, so we can go back, and now about that live data that I mentioned earlier. Here we can go ahead and see all of this information about every single module that it allows us to scan. As an example, we can go to the steering angle item right here. We can click OK, and that's the value. You see 2.3. I don't know if you're seeing, but I'm turning the steering wheel, and you can watch the value change live. So if you want to go in top dead center, that would be somewhere right there. I mean, it's hard to get to just hold it there, but as you can see, it works really, really well. We can also graph it. So, I don't know if this would, but yeah, there you go. So you can graph my steering wheel being turned. So as you can see, this is very, very cool. You can get all of this live information for each of the modules that the system allows you to scan. You can graph those. You can even join different graphs. So if you go to something that has more, let's see, we can select all, click OK, and then we're going to graph, and we can merge graphs. We can see, or actually we're going to go multi-graph, and there you go. So you can have like 2 graphs at the same time. Pretty cool. I like this functionality. It's very useful for troubleshooting certain sensors or modules or whatever you might be looking for. You know, let's say your handle is not opening the door or the button on the steering wheel is not working. You can press it and see if it actually responds on the scanner, and then you can kind of troubleshoot further. So that's basically the quick overview of scanning modules. Actually, before we exit, there are a few options here at the top. You can take a screenshot. So we're just going to take a screenshot, say OK, screenshot captured. We can also file a complaint. So if something's not working, we can do that. We can save that as well. And it's going to be saved to the data manager application. You can also print, and you can jump to settings real quick if you want to change certain things, like from imperial to metric and things like that. All right, so let's go back. Yes, this time we actually do want to exit. And before people ask, yes, this device does support OBD2 functionality. So this is kind of the standard OBD2 functionality that you would normally see on pretty much any scanner that's over, I would say, like 50 bucks. First, when it scans, it shows you if your car would pass emissions. So it's showing you which monitors are okay, which are inconclusive, and some other information, which we can click OK on and proceed. And here are the options that you have in the OBD2 functionality of the device. You have your IM readiness, so this is the same that we just saw, the same screen, usually presented slightly differently, but yeah, it'll tell you if you would pass emissions or not. Let's go back, and here we can see live data. So this will select all of the PIDs that are related to the engine and the transmission. This is different from diagnosis that we saw earlier, because this is only OBD2 standard PIDs or records, or whatever you want to call them, references, values. These are not necessarily specific to the vehicle. So they're not BMW specific, or they're not, you know, Mercedes specific, but things like that. But you can still get a lot of good information here. But yeah, this is more standard to a lot of different items. Component test, this doesn't usually work on this BMW for some reason on any of the scanners I've tested, so I'm not going to show it to you. But yeah, you can see good information in here. Nothing too special. We've seen it on many other scanners. But this is pretty cool, where you can scan the 4 system modules. All right, next let's talk about the maintenance items. So here we have 6 different items that are included for pretty much any vehicle, like I mentioned. These will be updated for free automatically if you want to, as long as you're connected to the internet. We have our ABS services. This will allow you to reset ABS sensors and do all that kind of stuff. It's normally very expensive if you take a car to the shop to just get your ABS system looked at. But with this, if your ABS light comes on, you can reset all of the codes, drive, and then scan the system and see what actually comes up and what issues you might be having before you spend a ton of money at a dealer. Now, next one is EPB, so that's going to be electronic parking brake. This will allow you to retrieve the parking brake back whenever you're changing your brakes or your brake pads or rotors or whatever may be related to that area. This is very important because most modern cars have electronic parking brakes, and you cannot manually move it back. Well, you can, but you will most likely break the piston within. Oil reset, kind of self-explanatory. When you change the oil, you want to reset the counter. That way you know when, next time you need to change the oil, the car will tell you. SAS, so this is going to be the steering angle sensor. Like you saw when I was moving the steering wheel, that the sensor was telling me where the wheel was at, and it's very important that it's accurate because a lot of the car's functionality depends on that. And with this function, whenever you take off the steering wheel or your wheel is not tracking right or something like that, you can get it reset or recalibrated. TPS is going to be the throttle matching. So if you do any changes to your throttle actuators, you can balance them with this software and get them working perfectly. And TPMS will allow you to reset your TPMS sensors for the tire pressure monitoring system. Let's say if you have 2 sets of tires and you switch them, you have like winter tires and summer tires, and you switch them, you want to register those TPMS sensors to the car and reset them before you start driving to make sure they're producing accurate information. Well, that's pretty much it about the scanner. Just to summarize, I really like that it's very fast. It's very fast compared to the older FOXWELL 604, 614s. and other scanners in that range. This is it feels like it has a lot more modern hardware and probably software, so it works really well. I really like the 5.5-inch screen. It looks a little reflective on camera, but it's actually really nice to look at in person. I also like the 4-core processor because it's quick. Whenever you press and stuff, it loads very quickly, unless it's dependent on the internet, but that works really well. I also like that there's no fees. You don't have to pay for updates, and updates are included and they're free forever basically. And it's also, to update stuff, you just click update all and it does the whole thing on its own. You can leave it for 10-15 minutes, and when you come back, it's done. So I think this scanner is really good for hobbyists, enthusiasts, and of course probably good for pros that work on the specific items that I mentioned, like the engine, transmission, SRS, and the ABS. And your 6 special functions that allow you to do the ABS work, oil resets, SAS, EPB, TPMS, and throttle matching as well. So what are some of the negatives? Well, you cannot scan all of the modules. It's only specific to those 4 that I mentioned. But unless you're working on very specific items in the car, it's probably good enough. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments or concerns or suggestions, leave those down below in the comments and I would love to read them. If you'd like to purchase one, I have a link down in the description to the affiliate links on Amazon. It definitely helps the channel out if you use them, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.